I have one of the most stunning Evolution 9 Grand Seiko models in for presentation today. A huge thanks to Exquisite Timepieces for lending this in for a video. If you are shopping any Seiko or Grand Seiko model, they are my own AD and they have an excellent selection of both brands. I'll leave a link below. Now, there will be two standout features of this 40mm high intensity titanium cased watch. One is the 5-day spring drive movement, and the other is this intricate, dynamic, and just straight up gorgeous dial. I think it's well established that Seiko and Grand Seiko has exceptional dial work, and this is just yet another example of that. Grand Seiko calls it a Minamo dial, meaning the texture is meant to emulate the swaying, irregular ripples that occur on the surface of a body of water, hence the model nickname, the Lake Suwa. Now, the dial is a lake-like blue, and the ripples on the dial change in a similar way to real waves on a lake. In some lights or angles, the dial just looks like a pretty, flat, basic blue. And then in other light scenarios or at other angles, the texture becomes very defined, very noticeable, and the blue gets brighter and more vibrant. Needless to say, Grand Seiko did a phenomenal job on the dial, and then the overall detail work visible under the macro lens. Note the wide, long, and mostly brushed hands, but what I'm really impressed by are the wide faceted applied markers. They're just incredible from a production standpoint. Not only is there a tapering trapezoidal form with flared chamfered edges, but there is also a polished trench or bevel line that runs down the center of each one of these markers, and then the multiple micro grooves in the topmost portion of each marker. It's no exaggeration. They grab and reflect light like no other applied markers that I've come across. They are very beautiful. And I especially like how fat the 12 marker is. That one has 2 trenches and 3 areas of micro striations. Even though the dial has an undulating surface, the printing and the branding all looks crisp and clean and even. Note the silvered appearance as to not stand out too brightly against the blue, kind of like white would if Grand Seiko would have gone with that color. Now, I don't want to sound overly enthusiastic, but I just can't say enough good about the dial and the detail work. Now, let's turn our attention to the other powerful draw of this watch, and that is the spring drive movement. Grand Seiko makes all spring drive movements at the Shinshu Watch Studio, which is just a short drive to the northwest of the real Lake Suwa in Japan. The caliber is called the 9RA2, and this, at least to me, is far more desirable than the other spring drive calibers in the lineup, and let me tell you why. Yes, it is more accurate than a standard spring drive. The specs say nearly double, with this only being off plus or minus 10 seconds per month, or plus or minus 0.5 seconds per day. With a standard spring drive, that number is still incredibly accurate at plus or minus 1 second per day. But yes, this is tighter in terms of tolerance. And yes, this does have a 5-day power reserve, which is 2 days better than the standard 3 days of a spring drive. No, but to me, the big draw comes down to the look and to the execution. I love this subtle frosted finish, this matte finish. It is slightly industrial looking, but then your eye finds the mirror anglage, the blued elements, the black polished elements. And I do find this more attractive than the more traditionally finished look of a basic spring drive caliber. The other big positive to me is the fact that Grand Seiko took off the handy power reserve indicator from the dial side of the watch, which is something that a vast majority of spring drive calibers have, and they placed it on the movement side. So I don't know, there's just something natural about that switch. It strengthens the symmetry of the dial, and I'm a big fan of it. Now, the movement rotor is skeletonized and does easily allow viewing of all of the components of the movement, especially that power reserve indicator. And I love the fact that the same amount of attention has been paid to the finish of the rotor And that's not something that you'll find in all movement makers. If I had to pick a favorite Grand Seiko movement, it would be difficult, but I think I would go with this one. This is everything that I want in a daily wear movement and nothing that I don't. Now, what about the other aspects of this SLGA019? The case is crafted out of high intensity titanium. It is expertly hand finished. Some collectors hype up Suratsu polishing, and I would say the hype is definitely justified. It is really well executed. The titanium Evo 9 bracelet is thicker and more solid feeling than a standard Grand Seiko bracelet, and this crystal is sapphire and carries ARC to enhance the dial clarity. Now the watch will sit low and comfortable on wrist, and for reference, my wrist is 7.25 inches in circumference. And because of the lightweight nature of the titanium, this really disappears. It's not noticeable while you're wearing it. Now, what about shortcomings? Although the bracelet is definitely improved, it just won't feel as solid as a luxury Swiss or German-made bracelet will feel. The flexibility is definitely intended on Grand Seiko's part, but not all higher-end collectors will enjoy this type of feel. I think it's just something you have to see in person. Now, the only other item of note is the clasp is rather basic, and there is no quick adjustment option, or at least on-the-fly adjustment option. And I've met many watch collectors who feel that this type of feature is just a no-brainer addition for any type of daily wear watch. And I think that this is a daily wear watch, so it is lacking in that aspect as well. But other than that, I think that this one is one of Grand Seiko's finest current offerings. It is comfortable, it is versatile, it is dead on accurate, and stunningly pretty. It also carries a handcrafted level of vertical integration that you just don't see often in watches that are sub $15,000. The retail price on this Lake Suwa is $10,400, and the watch will have an improved 6-year warranty. Thanks for watching today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, if you are shopping any Seiko or Grand Seiko, definitely check out my recommended authorized dealer Exquisite Timepieces, and feel free to say that Bruce sent you. Reach out with any questions, and I'll see you in the next video.